Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Interact podcast. My name is Josh Haynam, co-founder and CEO at Interact. Today, I'm joined by Megan Gravitt. I was going to say your name wrong because we talked about what your last name is. Uh, Megan Gravitt, Director of Marketing at Soulku. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's right. You nailed it.
That's funny. I've never said it out loud. I've taken your quiz like 8 times now. Never thought about how to say the name, but thanks for being here. I really appreciate it.
Sure. Excited.
So tell us about your quiz. It's a stone finder quiz. Like I said, I've taken it 8 times. It's very cool. I'm the Botswana agate.
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 Oh,
Don't
are
know
you
how to
going
say
through
that one.
change? You need support.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm a founder of a
Who,
tech company, so
right. Who isn't going through change? Yeah. That's
change.
actually that's one of our top stones right now because I've been looking at the analytics and I'm like, oh, that
Yep.
tracks with everybody right now. Yeah.
Yes. The world is slightly shifting, if you hadn't noticed. But yeah, tell us how it works. Tell us the story of how you came to build it, and anything else that's interesting because it's a very interesting quiz.
Yeah. So we are a gemstone jewelry business, and all of our jewelry is made by hand, but we have several different gemstones, and it's all based off of the inherent properties of gemstones and what they are known to be for. And we have hundreds of products. It can be very overwhelming whether you're somebody who's super into gemstones or you're just like learning about it for the first time and you think it's a fun gift to give, your sister, a teacher or whatever. And so for years, I've been with the company over 8.5 years. We've always struggled with wanting to do a quiz. However, a lot of quizzes, historically were really basic in that it was more like a hair care. Like, do you have dry hair or oily hair? Here are the products I recommend. And our product is so personal. Like you were just saying, you got Botswana agate, like that'd be somebody that's like needs support through change. I'm wearing Amazonite. That's for if you're needing courage, you're wanting to feel confident. And so that's so personal to the buyer that we can't pre-guess what they're going to be going through, or what they're buying for their friend who may be going. How would we ever know that? And we can suggest with education on the website, but it can be very cumbersome to get to it. So we've always wanted to do a quiz. But finding a way that would really give a quiz that could have, more than just 5 options for your winner, so to speak, never felt real to us. And we're super authentic with our audience. We try to never be like gimmicky or like just buy our product. It's like really personal to us. And so we struggled for years and just never did it because we always would see the quiz as just like, ugh, I would hate this quiz. It seems like BS. We came to you guys kind of because recently we were exploring direct mail marketing, and using mini chat. And we're working with an agency at the time that was setting up a quiz through mini chat, which would be only through the direct messaging, platforms on social media. And while it was interesting, it could be complex. We just found that a lot of our consumers or customers didn't love always being maybe that's where we're going. It's hard to say if that's where we're living. Our prime demographic is like a solid 35 to 55-year-old. So we're not, whatever. So I just don't know if that's where they ended up living. But it did get us thinking on like we had created a quiz that was pretty complex, but also what we thought was beneficial to our customer, where we could ask these questions and get to like the heart of what they were needing and then give them, we didn't pick everything. That would be a perfect world that like all like 300 plus SKUs, we could find just the right one. But maybe one day we'll get there. But we felt that it was a really good start, but we didn't want to keep it in the DMs. We really wanted it to be on our website, because that's where we could really own the control of that customer's journey better. As well as collect the email should we want to do that. We of course made that optional because we have other ways of garnering that. But so we wanted to move it there. And that's when we were like, well, look, we've already built this quiz out. We're no longer using mini chat or working with that direct messaging agency anymore. But there's plenty of new new quiz app companies out there that we could inquire and see if they could build out what we have. So that's when we started the research. We looked at all the those places that are like top 10, whatever. And obviously a lot of those get paid to be number one. But, after going through them all, it came down to price. We are a small business and software is like something we pay out the wazoo for. And sometimes it feels like we're paying for something super robust that we don't even need right now, but that's our only option. And so we were looking for something that met our financial needs as we're seeing a downtrend in buyer behavior over the past few years. Everything we have has to have a strong ROI or else it gets cut. In fact, we just made cuts 2 weeks ago on some software that we were like, we can't keep doing this. So I came to Interact and figured out, hey, this could be an option. I emailed, I think, just to your like support, and Josh, you like immediately as the founder like wrote me back, which, again, as a small company, I'm the only person, I say marketing director, but there's really not like I have a team underneath me. It's like me and one of the co-founders work together. So we are always looking for partners that can do the work with us as like an additional arm. And so I really love that you were on it like the same day. You're like, what are you wanting? How and I could give you the quiz we already had, because of course we had it like in a Google Doc, to say like, can you do this? And you thought through different ways with me. And when you were like, well, what if we did it this way, or what, whatever. And like thinking about logic building and whether or not that was right for us in this scenario. And we ultimately changed the quiz different from what it was originally, but not that dissimilar, to be honest. And got it down to, like a 10-question quiz using imagery where we wanted it, words when we didn't. And we picked like 20 different gemstones. And of course we have more than that, but like our top 20 that always serves our best sellers, and kind of attributed them with the point system and like, how it like logically breaks out, and made sure that it was evenly distributed across all questions, and then built out like landing pages for it to direct to. So we've had it about 3 weeks. I want to say it's been live, and we're really starting to see a lot of use on it. And we're, it's too early to really track like how much it's converting. But yeah, I'm glad we're getting it moving and getting traction on it as we go into Q4, and like making sure we work out any bugs and so forth. So yeah, so far it's been a great tool to eliminate the confusion for our customers.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, and it's perfect timing, right? Going into Q4. Perfect time to have a quiz on there. Walk us through like the logistics of the setup, because I think that's always been a confusing point for a lot of people coming into quizzes, and I'm sure you have a good perspective on it, because you really did go quickly through it. Once you we had a couple of conversations, but then it was like, boom, you're done. So you got a great handle on it. Talk through like, if I was completely new to this, like how does it actually work, especially with Shopify, and I think you're probably on Klaviyo for email. How does that all work?
Well, first and foremost, I am like a huge leaning, whether it's controversial or not, into ChatGPT these days, especially with being a small and mighty team. I don't know if your viewers use it that much, but like the more you use it, the more it knows you, And so for me, I use it like an intern. It knows who my brand is. I don't have to like regurgitate every time who Soulku is. I can literally go in and say, hey, here's a quiz we had. We're moving to this platform. And Josh, you even told me, hey, by the way, ChatGPT basically trained on Interact. So you can even specifically say, I'm building an Interact quiz. And it can kind of give you like the step-by-step. And that was amazing, because I had the quiz already that I liked. We kind of put it through there because we realized we wanted to switch it up a little bit just in how it was attributing the point system. And so it kind of helped craft, like massage some of the questions for me and give me some ideas. And then it came time to build the quiz out. And while your tool is it's very user-friendly, it doesn't matter how software knowledgeable you are, even if you're like, I know nothing. This is my first time ever building anything on any computer software. Even I, who know a lot, put some stuff into ChatGPT and was like, how would I do this? I don't see what you're talking, or like, can you break that down to me? I don't understand what you meant by that. It literally was like, go here, do this. Like it was very clear on all that. Not that I probably couldn't have done it with you, even over, a Zoom if we needed, but that was like, I got it up and running like in, less than a day to get it. And so then once we had a preview link, that was for us to kick it around internally. Because that's the big like BS test for us, is like, does this feel authentic? I've shifted it from what it originally was. Some people came back and were like, we should use pictures here. We should not make it sound so esoteric, make it a little bit more approachable in the language, or like, whatever. And then now I was in the back end keeping tally of, on every question, we had like multiple choice. And then I have 20 different result scenarios. And then you like tether them to the results. Now, ChatGPT would be like, here's my suggestions. But again, you're always going to know your brand better. So at least it was a starting point. But there was a lot of ones that I was like, I'm going to do it differently. And I made sure, like I had a little spreadsheet tally where I just made sure that every one of them had an equal chance of being selected. So within 20, if I had like 5 multiple choice, then they each had to touch 4 so that we weren't cheating the system, and that it was an actual like real experience. And so, yeah, we did all that. And it was just going to like tell you your winner. And then you and I talked about like, well, you could take them to a page within your website, so that got me kicking around. So I also manage our website. I design everything. And I was like, oh, I'll build out a landing page for each of these stones, because some of them we have more than one product for, like Amazonite, we've got it in a lot of styles. So then I could speak directly to the person that took that quiz. And then you can make them all go to those landing pages. Then we talked about whether or not we should collect email or not. And we talked about how let's make it an option, because some people are like me. I'm like, I'm not giving my email out anymore. But maybe if you're further in the funnel of getting to know Soulku, you're like, no, I'm ready to buy. I want that discount. Or I just bounced to you off of an Instagram ad. I'm not ready to commit yet. So that's a nice option that you can leave it and see where you are on that. I have built out Klaviyo flows. Most of the time, if they truly are a new customer, it kicks them into our newsletter. So they're going to get our welcome flow as always. But on the off chance that they're already in our newsletter, and so it's like a return customer that might be taking it for like a friend or just themselves and wants a code, then there's a different Klaviyo flow we've set up for that specific user to say like, hey, got this. And it'll save their stone to the Klaviyo settings. Now, if they take it over and over again, it's going to overwrite each time, but at least it'll save it in the meantime. And then, yeah, embedding it on the website, super easy. I mean, basically embed code. If you know anything about Shopify and being able to drop in HTML code on like a WYSIWYG page, that was like no brainer, got that going. And so then I just took that page and added it to our footer, to our navigation, to our email footers now, all of them. It has that in it. And I actually think I have it in the top. And then we just started ad campaigns about a week and a half ago. We have video ads that boom, straight to the same page. So we're really trying to use that as a great tool to get people through the funnel and getting to know our product better.
It's super cool. I really like the implementation. It's like across everything. It's super smooth. Like when you go to the website, it's easy to find. It's not too like in your face. Like it's there, but it's not being pushed on you. And I think this is super cool. If you wouldn't mind talking through like the price differentiation, because you mentioned it ended up being the cheapest option. I think there's been a lot of marketing dollars put into like Shopify quiz apps over the last few years. And so Interact doesn't always even show up as an option, even though for what it does, it's oftentimes dramatically cheaper than the other choices that you have. What was your experience like there? As much as you want to share, you don't have to share anything you don't want to share.
Yeah, no. Well, I want to say, I don't even remember the webpage. I think I shared it to you because you knew the guy, but he had written like a, like a marketer's guide to quiz apps.
Yep.
And the top one, was that Miro or something like that? I can't even remember the name of it, but it looks super slick. And right off the gate, you're like, boom, let's do this. It doesn't have logic building, which in the end, we didn't end up needing logic branching, but I thought I was, and I probably will in the future. And I was like, right off the gate, like, why even have a quiz app if you can't do any logic? Boom, gone. And they were expensive. I feel like you guys were on the list and you weren't the last one. I want to say you were like 7 out of 10 on his list. And I don't know, 10 feels like a healthy amount to explore. There were just a lot of things I was like either too expensive, like right out of the gate, like a couple $100, don't need that for one quiz. We haven't even tested you yet. Didn't have logic branching or like didn't do what we wanted it to do. Yeah. And then it really came down to, I think you guys were the cheapest. You offered a bunch of different things and I didn't need, I know a lot of them say like, hey, we'll have like AI build it for you. Which again, I know I just talked all about ChatGPT, but like I even did like a free trial period with like one of them and was like, yeah, sure, I'll have AI build it for me. And it was garbage. Like it was back to like the days where we were like, this is why we were never doing quizzes, because they felt like the whole time I'm just trying to get your money, and they weren't really doing the way we treat our customers, which is like, we'll go on live Instagram and just be like, tell me your problem and we'll pick a piece for you. And we wanted the quiz to at least be somewhere close to that. And they just felt like it totally missed the point on. I don't know if that will be in 5 or 10 years from now, but it wasn't there for us yet. So yeah, it was a really easy decision to be like, oh, I think we were able to get you for, $89. And that's like less than what we spend on ads every day. So we could make this work in all of our channels. The only one I'm curious to talk to you about later is getting it into our mobile app. So we're actually on a tap card as well. So if we really wanted to blow it out on all of our channels and all of our ways to communicate with our customers. But yeah, I think that's really what it came down to. Price, what kind of functionality were you really putting your money where your mouth is about like what you were offering, and being able to be support. And I guess I do think the fact that you followed up like same day and you weren't like a cheesy sales guy, like you were like, I'm the owner of the company actually, and we've been in business for 10 years and ChatGPT like trained on our tool. I was like, sold. That's all I needed to hear. So yeah,
that's great to hear. I mean, that's, we have been at this we just turned 12, so we're
good for you.
almost teenagers.
Almost a teenager.
We'll start acting horribly next year, but yeah, we've been around for so long. We have like thousands of articles on the internet that are all in ChatGPT. So
I wish we found you sooner.
Yeah, I mean, the struggle for us, right? Like our space is not very big. Like, doing quizzes is kind of a niche thing. But during the pandemic years, when there was a lot of funding in tech, there was something like $300 million of funding that went into our particular vertical. And so that's why we kept getting shoved down these articles. Now you're 5, now you're 6, now you're 7, because like you're paying to be at the top,
of course,
which is unfortunate. So it's great to hear that story. And it's also great to hear from the Shopify perspective, because a lot of times those other companies will try to tell you Interact doesn't even work for e-commerce quizzes. You can't use it for that, which is absolutely not true. And so I really appreciate you sharing like kind of the behind the scenes there. And then you'd mentioned like the idea of, potentially branching off from here and thinking about other quizzes in the future. Like where has your mind gone after doing this one in terms of like what's possible for future quizzes?
I think a low-hanging fruit one, if as we move into holiday, would be like holiday gifting. We always do a gift guide, but you could really easily turn that gift guide into a quiz instead and say like, who are you shopping for now? Because with the gift guide, normally we pick like, a thing for that person, like teacher. And it's like, here's the item for teacher. Well, in theory, there's more than one item for a teacher, right? And there's, like we said, we have over 300 SKUs. So we really could do a quiz that's more geared towards who are you shopping, who are you buying a Christmas gift for, a holiday gift for this season, and asking some similar questions that we're asking on the main quiz, but like almost like drill down further and get more. And like maybe it's less like, as we call it, woo woo on some of it, and more like direct, like, does she like this? Does she want this? Does he like this or whatever? And that would be a really easy one to roll out for holiday season. We're also, Mother's Day is our like second Black Friday, since we were a brand founded by moms, and my moms are the ones that make our jewelry. And the same thing, like we have several pieces that like are for moms. It says like beautiful mom, amazing mom, whatever. But like, let's all be real, like that's not always the right piece for that mom. So any type of, gifting, and gifting in general tends to be like a way to use our piece, because we've got so many people that wear it and they want all their friends to have it. So I think that's a really way to do it. It also could be broken down potentially to quizzes per property. So like you're looking for stress relief. Well, I mean, we have a ton of things that were for stress relief. Some say it on the card, but some are also like rose quartz for love, but that's still beneficial for stress relief, pretending. So then we could have quizzes per like shop by property. Like that's what we have. So instead of just like showing you the collection, we could have quizzes built out for our top selling properties like stress relief and love and healing, so that we could narrow down. And it's already a narrowed collection, so then it could be even more specific than what our main quiz is doing. So I think there's a lot of room for like doing it without exhausting our audience to be like, I want to take a quiz for everything, but certainly in areas where it feels applicable and it feels fun and it feels like, hey, I'm getting something out of this because I can't talk directly to Megan or to Elisa, our CEO, whatever, to get that. But I feel like I'm getting a leg up, getting help with it. So yeah, a lot of
Yep.
different ways.
Those are perfect ones. I've seen both of those been used in the past or currently by other companies. They both work really well. And you can duplicate inside our system. So you can just duplicate the whole quiz and
Yeah.
then add like holiday imagery, change some of the questions. Perfect Christmas one.
And I don't think our pricing changes either when I
Nope.
mean, we can add up to like 20 quizzes for the
Yeah.
price or something like that. So that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
20
really great.
quizzes. And I think you're on a plan where you can collect 10,000 leads a month. So
Yeah, right. Which
unless
is
you blow it
amazing.
out of the water, right? So
We're gonna
we
do
really try to make it friendly on that end. A
Yeah.
lot of the quiz apps, it's so frustrating. They're like, oh, it's free. And it's free for like, I don't know, the first 100. And then by the time you have 1,000 completions, it's $300 a month. And you're like,
Yes.
what
Like,
the
well,
heck?
yeah,
That's
it
absurd.
adds up really quickly. And like you said, with a
Yeah.
small business, $300 a month, you better be giving me a strong like
I
4 ROAS
know.
on that.
Yeah, it's a bit frustrating and feels a bit inauthentic, honestly. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, we're
Right.
free.
Right.
Unless you
Yeah.
actually use it, then it's $300 a month. And you're like,
Yeah.
that's not free. Anyways, the breaking it down, I've seen that done really well. So it's like you have your main quiz, and then when you go to like the subcategory page, there's another quiz. And people do like that. I've seen a couple examples of it where it's been done really well. So I like both of those. I think it's a good place to kind of wrap it with like thinking about the future. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing everything. Where can people go to take the quiz, find more about the company, all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, so soulku.com. It's soul, Soulku, which is a combo word that we made up, with ku being kind of a Japanese variation of the word of infinite possibilities, which is really where our two owners founded it from. If you go to soulku.com, you'll see it in our top navigation stone quiz. It's also further down on the homepage. You can't miss it. Yeah, we'd love to, have more people take it and explore our products.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Megan. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.